hear the voice of reason.
Welcome to another edition of Tell It How It Is. No filter. It is me, voice of reason, in the building. As always, welcome and thanks for joining me. Make sure you hit the notification bell, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Anything to keep the platform moving. But you know, it's going to keep moving regardless. This don't stop while I'm breathing. No matter what's going on. I'm always dramatic in the beginning. How's everybody doing? You know, I got a bunch of mixed information here real quick. So I thought I was told that we saw the groundhog shadow. So it's supposed to be 6 more weeks, or is it less than 6 weeks when we see the shadow? Either way, winter seems longer because now I'm told we did not see his shadow. And that little critter is pretty accurate because what is going on? I mean, we in the fire season, fire sign season, and I don't feel no fire. I don't feel no heat. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I don't want it too close to me, but it's too brick. That's it on that. That's all. All right, let's go right away. A man with a good heart always finds a woman who never appreciates him. We can't say this. Not on a social media platform. Whenever it's the man's turn to get any type of extra grace, because I don't want to call it pity or him playing victim, because God forbid something bad happens to a good dude, you know, social media and the world going to be like, suck it up, man up, toughen up, right? Where do we really get the sympathy and sympathizing from anybody when a man goes through something? And in reality, privately, you know, to his own devices, his own circle, his own family, you know, individually separate from the world scene. But we not getting that. So as much as I want to say this is true, I am going to say it's true, but it's not going to get acknowledged. They're going to just charge it that he chose wrong or he chose with his other head. Pause. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like this happens. Definitely. You know what I mean? People are just in a hole ungrateful for the good things that come their way. And they don't know how to act. They don't know how to behave in those situations. You know, this is a little bit of a sidebar. It's a good debate because it says that today's kids are raised by younger parents, and the younger parents are acting like they're friends or they're still hip. So the kids may or may not take the parent as serious, or, you know, they don't grow up correctly because the parent is young as well. And some of the things the kids hear and see, you know, it's a little toxic sometimes because they could go off even with the kid there with whatever's going on in a personal business. So I feel like that's a hindrance to the raising of today's kids. But I won't always charge it to the younger parents for all time, because back in the day, if the parents were younger, it was still more substance and still that line of respect and boundary. I feel a lot more than we see that today. You know what I mean? But it's just not helping that they're younger parents and they acting too cool and hip. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you and your kid could go to a Sexy Red concert, but really, should y'all? Yeah, when kid is of said age, 21, maybe 18. I don't know. Like, it's not for me to really call that. But just think about that. And that could explain why the kids act crazy today. You know what I mean? But back to the real subject. Yeah, we know this. We're not gonna really get praised for this or anything too outstanding about this. You just have to, like, for the man, just react quickly. If you're not appreciated, step. I know it's easier said than done, but the quicker you could lock in and say, oh, word, this is the temperature, I'm out of here, because, you're not going to really get the appreciation ever, maybe, once it's not there from the gate. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a very tricky one, but I do agree. And sorry, I don't really have a solution other than pay attention and recognize you're not appreciated and keep it pushing. Some people are just groomed and they just like the way they is, man. A lot of privilege too. I don't want to really get into that and, counter it with women's bad behavior sometimes. All right. Most relationships end by listening to family members and miserable ass friends. These are setting me up because I treat this like the first one. It's like if a woman goes through this, she can go to social media and boo-hoo about it, and they'll coddle her, and her girls are, she could cry on their shoulder per se through social media. She could go live and cry about it. It's a show for sure. But a guy can't. We had a disadvantage on these first two. I'm sorry. We are. But let's still dig into it. Pause. I was watching, you gotta, pardon me for our grown. We too old for that. A lot will say that. Pardon me, my memory, my brain. For entertainment purposes, I've been watching Tell It. It Is What It Is. I was about to call it my shit. It Is What It is Cameron, Mason, Stat. Shout out to them. They're very entertaining to me. So I was watching that a lot, just to keep upper spirits and get through my day. Sometimes that shit is hilarious. So that's where the pause is coming from, because they do that a lot. But I'm gonna try to check out on that. Anyway, I see this a lot though, influence. But that all I could tell you for this is, let's bring it back. Most relationships end by listening to family members and miserable ass friends. I say keep them out. Limit the info. Limit the stories. I know, you feel you really got ride or dies, family or friend wise, and you feel you can chat about anything. Because that was another subject I was on about, especially besties, people you call your best friend, your right hand, your best girl or whatever. So you're going to feel like you can discuss almost anything. And to an extent, I feel like everyone, man or woman, should have that one person they could do that with. Now, of course, you can have more, but I would rather you limit that. And then even in the one, I still would keep certain shit out. Your relationship is separate from your family members, is separate from your friends. That is something sacred for you to enjoy, you alone. Your family or your friends should not have like a play in this, or it benefits them. Like, it's cool if, your partner and his or her, success or whatever they got going on can uplift and spread through family and spread through friends, but that's not their motherfucking job. Let me just say that. Whoever I'm with, I say this live, whoever I'm with, is not my job to make sure family and friends are good. Where they do that at? So there's a bond. Yes, like, the people who are special to your partner, y'all can gather at functions, y'all can gather at events, but keep them out as much as possible. Even if they seem like they not miserable, even if they seem like they got shit together, just influence is almost never positive. I'm sorry to say that. Lordy. Let's sit on that. Influence is almost never positive. It's when it comes to relations, especially relationships. That's it. I'm just saying, like we gotta stop. There's certain things, and that's gonna piggyback something else. Watch. But The less they know, the better. You feel me? I can get into all the mechanics of people saying and having the experiences of running their mouth about some shit. The family and friends opinionate, it look crazy on the person. Shit get twisted, but they go back to the person. They never leave like all that stuff. And that's not the reason to not involve them. It's just period. It's like you are selecting this person. I would hope you're grown enough to know what you like and know what you want. So you don't need it. You don't need it. I feel limit that for real. Values that benefit the listener only. Outside that, really check your potential person. So, I'm going to go more on the males, the guys. You are alpha, doing your thing to your purpose. I always say that at least once an episode, right? I want my guys to really shine. So I'm always be repetitive in that. Anyway, if you speak on things that you got going on currently, like they active, not stuff that you plotting on or planning to do, things that already go down, right? Things you already responsible for, things that you check off in the boxes that you handle. You know what I mean? You telling that to your potential person, they're picking out, not all, they're picking out what they like about what they hear, what they could benefit from what they hear. So that's going to always be good energy given back to you, especially when you talk about your success. You may not talk about your actual finance dollar amount, but if you're doing your thing, what's an example? Come on, we keep it simple. Me, whoever in the past 2-3 years, let's just make it a wider scale. 2 years, just about 2 years. The work I put in at work, the gym, meal prepping, my son, like, good one, voice of reason. So what did I just say? Let's recap, because I kind of just freestyled that, but it actually works. The work, the 9 to 5 work, the extra 9 to 5 work, this platform, the gym, my son, meal prep. How many of those benefit the listener? The work, the 9 to 5, the extra work, 9 to 5. That's a direct benefit of the listener in their ears, right? Meal prep, that's in there. That ain't as important as that money though, right? In a lot of cases. This platform, if it take off, it don't directly. So with me, it's going to be really fun because all I got, sorry to say, for the person who's only listening for what benefits them, all I got is the 9 to 5 and the extra work I put in there and maybe the meal prep. My son don't benefit them. This platform they may not see the vision. It may not benefit them. My music, I ain't even put that in there. The gym is debatable if they care about muscles and health. But that still don't directly benefit them. That just benefits their eyes. So I just got the money. Sorry to say, the money. So, fellas, let's say you have that similar resume. You're going to know the body language and the vibes and the responses you get from what you talk about. So let's leave work and the money out, or put that last and talk about the things that don't benefit them directly and see what kind of energy you feel. You're welcome. What kind of energy do you feel when you talk about the things you love, you get to, and it don't benefit anybody in the moment but you? And let me see what you get out of that. Check that out. For real. Because that's dope. Because if you can leave what benefits someone else out the equation and still get strong energy, good feedback, support, even advice, that's a dope person. And it don't even got to be a partner. Like, that's so lit that even if they're just a friend, that's somebody to have in the corner. It's not many of those. So you take advantage, even if it can't be a partner per se, or it doesn't go that far. I would love that. Somebody off the rip, you know what I mean? That could just support, because I could go to that whenever, I'm brainstorming about, let's say, the platform, the gym, you know what I mean? Even meal prepping. Because everything you do and you get good at, there's still people who was doing it longer, maybe a little better. So that all benefits as a whole. You know what I mean? If you could do that, that's dope. Why did it drop? Okay. Man to man, avoid the false dopamine hit of telling your goal to others. That challenges what my last comment was about, finding dope people, and you maybe could put them on the stuff. But this is different. This is amongst the guys, for once the ladies get left out of this one on this occasion. Fellas, you really need to tap in. You have no clue what dudes you have around you that is jealous, secretly want to see a downfall. And I mean, if it ain't that one or two I told you about earlier, about really having like that special one or two that you could co-sign, or you hope you can, and they've been consistent. But like just associates in places where you work, in places where you gather. Let's keep using these examples. Gym, it might be some convo in the gym. Convo at work, co-workers about work. Convo at work about gym. These are not your friends per se. They want to see you fall, especially if they ain't got it together. So if you got some goals in mind, you might have to keep it to yourself. I'm sorry, even if you have a good partner, and that's for a different reason, because especially from the man's perspective, sorry, ladies, do y'all really want to hear what he trying to do or what he getting done or what he got done? Yeah, it's cute. Be ambitious, babe. Do you want to hear it, or you waiting on the finished product? Not all women, but y'all numbers ain't good though. I'm sorry, y'all numbers ain't good. Somebody got to prove me wrong. Fellas, because only they could vouch for y'all. Ladies, you can't vouch for yourself on this one. Where my guys at that got that? Hit me up, comment, let me know I'm bugging. I'll recant the statement the next pod. But keep what you planning, what you got as goals, keep that to yourself. Unless it's 90 to 95% of the way. And that's me being lenient. And I'm talking about real right hands, ride or die day one. If you're going to speak to anybody about it. Because you can't help yourself. You're so antsy because it's about to pop. So you want to say something to somebody. So be very wise in who you tell that to. Because they're going to be praying that shit don't go right for you. Stories about your exes. How much is really the truth? How mature are we? No one's safe. Man and woman, y'all getting it. Do we even realize when we talk about a past situation, a past relationship, that we are the narrator? Do we really tell the story from a perspective where the listener can see both sides? And I don't know what your motive is. I think when you tell a story about an ex, if you're just relating to a person because the listener just gave their story, or it's just talk to talk, the simpler that is, the more you may get the realer version. But I feel like if it comes as a rebuttal, like the listener told a story, you telling your story, you may want to look a certain way. You may feel like you really did look that way in that situation. You may really feel that way. You may have receipts to say, look, I was solid. So when you tell a story, the listener is only getting the narrator's version. And, y'all might get at me and say, well, whose version should it be? Good one. Good one. Accountability. All stories ain't the narrator's version. Sometimes you can be mature and see where you went wrong, what you did. More than one little peck. You know what I'm saying? Because it depends on who you telling the story to. They may challenge you to say, well, what did you do? That's what a real listener should say. Listen. That's the narrator's version. Can I get a version that touches both sides? Because nobody's perfect. Even if one person came up short and one person was solid, there's still something that they're both responsible for. Whether it's you for not noticing this is not the right situation for you, you ignoring red flags. Sometimes fellas too in love, too stuck. Now you done forgot your goals and purposes. You're not as ambitious. Not as ambitious. That could be a turnoff. I'm just sorry. Women letting themselves go, gaining 20 pounds, 40, 50, 60. It's getting crazy. Everybody, once you get comfortable, comfortability is a dangerous recipe for a strong, healthy relationship. It really is. And I almost said that like I'm a relationship guru. I'm just saying, I know that we get comfortable out of nowhere. We have a couple of, I ain't gonna put a number on there to make y'all really look bad. Y'all got a couple months looking real good. And then there it go. Comfy, cozy. It doesn't look good on either side. Stay sharp. So if you're going to tell your story, try to be different, because a lot of people are going to tell the story with them as the hero or the victim. You can be in the middle. And the victim and the hero is not like the both sides. What I'm saying is you could have done a lot of good versus being the villain, not victim. Sorry. But some people do tell the victim side. The victim version, there's 3 versions then. There's the hero version, the victim version, and the villain version. Almost no one tells the villain. And I'm not saying to be the villain, but let's get victim out of there and put hero, villain, and meet somewhere in the middle where you did wrong. You could say what they did. But let's have a better balance if you're going to tell a story, because the benefit of that will not only be to the listener, you will learn too in the moment. Because sometimes when you talk about something, you may take it from a different perspective and you may not be as butthurt about it. Like, damn, I did do this though. Damn, I didn't pay attention to that. I got a little comfy. Yeah, I stopped doing certain things. And all of that will start coming to you. It's too late, maybe it's too late to implement it, but at least you know. You know what I mean? All right, when a baddie tells you what they want, you may have to do the opposite. This is just triggering troublemaking. Fellas, you get excited, man. We always crave the baddies. Different definitions of baddies. depending on the individual, what he considers a baddie. But in either event, when you think you hit the jackpot, fellas, I don't like that feeling for you. Not all the time. When you think you hit the jackpot, you start wilding out, emptying the bank, emptying the savings to impress this person, leading with your money indirectly or directly. You may not see it. It may not be right away, but you are. I mean, you're going to spend money when you're dating anyway. But I'm talking about when you think you hit, I don't like that mindset, hit the jackpot, because you're going to spend the jackpot to keep the jackpot. And that's not always bad. Maybe they're not after your bread, but they after a good time. They don't want money. And there's different levels, because just because the female doesn't directly ask you for money or want your money for them, like in their pocket, a good time, numerous times, could be what they after. So when you have a conversation and you get one, and sorry to say, a lot of baddies are vocal about what they want. And I don't mean the level-headed ones. So relax, settle down. Though baddies that have substance, a good conscience, been through shit to know, yeah, I'm a baddie, but I still need to carry myself accordingly because I'm tired. Because just being the baddie and not having substance, you're going to go down some rough roads too. But what kills me is before they learn to be humble, I feel like they tell you more what they want that may be like not solid stuff. Then when they humble themselves, now they realize, I just need this, this, and this. You know what I mean? Guys, we got to provide. We have to be masculine. We have to be a protector. These are the basic things, baddie or not. So if a baddie says that, but notice that before a baddie humbles themselves, what they want may sound crazy. So giving them the opposite sometimes is for their own good. You know, if they ask for stuff and you just yes and here and here. How is that relationship going? How is that situation going? Do you really, you think you hit the jackpot in your mind? Are you getting treated like you hit the jackpot? Then knock yourself out. T.I. said something. It ain't tricking if you got it. We don't reward bad behavior over here. I don't give a fuck how much money you got. If you think you hit the jackpot, but you're not getting treated like that, there's no rewards. I mean, a discussion has to be had, yeah. But we don't just keep giving because we think we hit the jackpot, but you like, what? How am I feeling about this for real? What are they showing me? That's why I say I don't like that phrase. You feel me? And I'll say it again. So just try to be mindful. Let's use this, fellas, because a lot of that whole baddie, I set y'all up and it's almost toxic every time. Because once you hear the word baddie, we using less of this. We use less of this. And like I said, people change the definition of that. You could change it. Once you start using more of this, a baddie starts to less resemble what everyone else calls a baddie. And you could take that for what you take that for. It's not always a bad thing. Like, we want looks. You could find an attractive woman, a beautiful woman, a nicely shaped woman, who cares about her health and is getting it in that gym, trying to, or getting to it, or about to get to it, or really have some goals, or really control a diet. I said this the other day. Let me salute the women. It's not always about getting in that gym and chasing another chick's shape, chasing the Instagram chick's shape. That diet, if you lock that in, we salute you for that too, because sometimes the diet, all the time the diet is 80% of the battle. Now, if you could just get in there a little something, you will skyrocket. Your stock will skyrocket. But salute, and let me give a round of applause, because I want to encourage the women too for once. Not for once, but separately. Salute. Get that diet. That's the start. If you can't get to that gym, start with the diet. Because when you get to the gym, you still gonna need that diet. Fellas too, but this is a woman's moment. Shout out to you that cook your own stuff. You try not to eat out in them streets like that. You get busy in the kitchen and you're very conscious of the purchases and what you put in as ingredients. Salute to you. All that count. Keep it going. Stay motivated. I love that. I love that. Get that diet right. So till the next time, you know my 3 P's. Stay positive, stay pushing, and stay progressive. Peace.
Is there a heaven or hell? You about to really see. Shots through his bone and his bones and left his feeling free. So now he got no T-Mobile or mobility. Look, I can tell you ain't used to me yet. Duke is a threat, so either y'all stupid or deaf. These hot balls will make Lucifer sweat. I bring the smoke to where all you bitches be. It's like who go on deck? Since a youngin' I was misbehaving, on a mission, up in mom's kitchen, pitching shaving, to watch it for ops when they positions faded.